Hi everyone, it's Fiona here from fionamarks.com and it's Friday, the 18th of June. I'm here with my newsletter. And this week I'm wondering about how was your experience of the eclipse that we had on June 10? In this newsletter, I'm going to be exploring family because for me it took place in a house connected to that. But where did it take place for you, and what have you been finding in your integrating of the experience of the eclipse? So for me, as I said, the eclipse took place in my ninth house, and the ninth house is really beautiful house. It's a trinal house, so it's got that grace and good fortune associated with it. And you know that in Vedic astrology, it's got that link to the Navamsha. So we often consult the Navamsha relating to marriage prospects and also the ninth house, because the ninth house shows us the path that we're committing to. And that's kind of the balance there of those trinal houses, isn't it? That the first house is our initial life path, what is obvious for us to set off in a direction and do. And the fifth house is where we kind of finally get to grab a hold of that path and take it where we want to go and create our own legacy that may build on the life path that we inherited, but will be uniquely our legacy. And then the ninth house is the trinal house where we commit to that life path, we commit to a life partner, we commit to a culture and a set of conventions, as the ninth house relates also to faith and philosophy and teachers. It's a fascinating house. And actually, I really enjoyed in the essay that we wrote, for the Astral Vedic Astrology apprenticeship program. We need to write 3 10,000-word papers, each examining a person's life house by house by house. And such a fantastic activity to do because you really get a chance to dig into the flavor of each unique house. And I particularly loved Harry's ninth house. It's up here on the blog. He's got some very good things going on in that house, but he's also got this exalted Mercury being agitated by the sun, and it really had some very good insights into that the marriage, the parents, because not only does the ninth house relate to marriage, but I like to consult the ninth house when I want to look at the parents as a unit for an adult child, like somebody who's already grown up, perhaps has their own family. The ninth house can give insights into um, how those parents are working together as a team. So yes, the ninth house, just a fascinating house of purpose. And that's where the eclipse took place in my chart. So for me, of course, those insights and revelations, those hunches, those creative impulses to do something new are all in that space around my parents. And for me, it came about with a family member sharing like just an off the cuff remark of something that was quite well accepted in their perception of my parents. And it's helped me to really see the existing dynamic that, of course, I grew up in and understood and have thought about and talked about many times. But it gave me a new way of looking at it. So it just fit beautifully with this eclipse. And I'm wondering what your experience was. What house did it take place for you? And how are you going with integrating those insights? And if it was a family house, you might be interested in this series that I'm running. It's a case study. I'm just showing you the process map there of this case study. We're analyzing two parents, one child, and both of the grandparents. And so in here, point number 2, one of the first things we want to look at is how we want to parent. And the fifth house is a great place to start with that, because the fifth house relates to the legacy that we are creating, that we are leaving here. And of course, what's really fascinating is that your parenting partner has their own fifth house, which may be very in harmony with yours or could be quite different. So looking at both parents' fifth house, that is up there on YouTube at the moment. And then the next point 3, is how influenced we are in our parenting based on our parents' parenting of us. So what we want to keep and what we want to get away from. And so for both of these parents in the case study, we examine their own relationship with their own parents and the marriage relationship of the parents, what was going on between the parents. So that is fascinating. And of course, it adds a lot of complexity to what we bring in as a parent. So it can be quite fascinating to have a look at your partner's parenting baggage. And then in point 4, of course, we've got the unique ingredient of your child, or maybe there are several. And what I find really beautiful about astrology in this way is that each child is going to have preset in their chart the approach that they will, the relationship that they will want to have, the way that they will see their maternal parent and their paternal parent. And so you may find this if you have multiple children, that sometimes it's really easy to get on with one child rather than another. And maybe that's because the way the child is preset to see you as a parent matches with how you would like to be seen as a parent. And of course, the opposite of that is also true, that sometimes the way the child wants to see you as a parent is not how you want to be seen. And it creates this friction in the dynamic. So astrology can be really good at teasing out these elements and objectifying them, so we can speak about them as if they're pieces on the chessboard rather than murky, like invisible inter-family dynamics. So astrology is really helpful. And all of these, I think the child's one is even up now on YouTube. So you can watch through, I think there are maybe 6 or 8 videos exploring this case study. And then it links nicely with Astrolojam 2, which is happening in July. We've got a celebrity with a very unconventional upbringing. So I'm interested to see whether you can see that in the chart and what characteristics you can see from the parent. Just seeing typos here. So let me just refresh this view, clean up those typos. There you go. That looks better already. So if you would like to grab your spot now, there's already bookings there. So make sure you don't miss out. It's going to be 10 astrologers or enthusiasts all together, and any level of skill or interest is welcome. So please feel free to come. If you're very competent, adept at astrology, we'd love to see your favorite techniques and talk about how you approach the chart. Also, feel free to come if you've just got an interest in astrology, you want to see some different astrologers and how they would approach a chart. If you're a student getting ready to do this chart analysis more regularly, more professionally, you might love to check in with other astrologers. So I would really enjoy your company on Sunday, the 11th of July at 3 p.m. London time. And that brings us to the end of the newsletter for this week. I just encourage you, if you want to talk about the eclipse, if there's things that you're integrating, give me a call, use these buttons and book a reading or a follow-up, and we can see which house this eclipse happened in for you and how you are integrating and processing that this week. All right, great to catch up with you as always. I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Okay, until then, take care and see you next week.